So this primitive and these schedulings will always depends on two types, whether it may be primitive scheduling or it may be non-primitive scheduling. So what is meant by primitive and what is meant by non-primitive? You already know. So this is created and this is ready, this is running, this is block, and this one completed. So here P2 is waiting, P1 is running. While we are comparing with P2 and P1, P2 having highest priority than P1. If it is so, then P1 will be preempted to ready state and P2 will reach the running state, and this P2 will finish the operation and P2 will reach the completed state. Depends upon the priority basis. If any one of the process having lesser priority than next process, then obviously it will be preempted to the previous state. That's what exactly primitive scheduling. This can be happen. If it is a non-primitive scheduling, the same return back option will not be available, right? For checking these type, non-primitive scheduling having four types of schedulings. So first one is FCFS scheduling, first come first serve. So same, you already know about FS, first in first out, queue. So second one is last come first serve, that's last in first out. This is like queue, and this is like stack. And next one is shortest job first, and last one is priority based scheduling. So these are the four types of algorithms, and we'll go in the detail how each and every individual algorithm is going to be executing. So first one is first come first serve. So the name itself, it is indicating who will come first for the execution purpose. Who will come for the execution purpose as first. That can be first served is nothing but running state. It will having the right to enter into the running state. Let's have a look. So the best example is railway ticket system. Not only railway, any ticket reservation systems. So as you already know about of this one, so this is your counter, reservation system counter. So P1 is nothing but process 1, person 2, person 3 and person 4. 4 persons are available and 4 persons are waiting to take ticket. So obviously who is the first in the queue? P1. So first P1 will get the ticket if the bus having enough places to sit. Next P2 will get the ticket. Next P3, next P4. In this sequential order only they'll get the tickets. For example, after completion of issuing the tickets for P1 and P2, the tickets are going to be closed. There is no empty seats are available. Then obviously P3 and P4, these two has to wait. There is no option. These two has to wait because only P1 will come first and next one will P2 only come. While comparing with the P1 and P2, P3, P4 will getting late. Due to that, they won't get the chance to execute. So here you have one example, right? So this is P1. P1 is nothing but process 1. So now I would like to explain how this FIFO, first in first out, will operate, right? So for example, I have process 1, So that process one has to initiate at 0 and it has to execute at 10 seconds. Next P2 came, it has to execute at 15 seconds. Next P3 came, it has to execute at 22 seconds. Right? For this particular purpose, entire P1 will take 10 seconds of time to execute. Entire process 2 will take 15 minus 10, 5 seconds will take. Entire P3 for operation purpose 22 minus 15, 7 seconds will take. Now I would like to calculate average waiting time, average execution time, and then average turnaround time. Let's have a look with average waiting time. So as you already know that average waiting time. So waiting time is nothing but P1 has to wait. How much time it has to wait? 0. No need of any waiting. So P1 having waiting time as 0. For P2, waiting time is 10. And for P3, waiting time is 15. So this is my waiting time. If I would like to calculate the total waiting time, then 0 plus 10 plus 15. This is 25 milliseconds or seconds or whatever it is. So if I would like to calculate average waiting time, then 25 by how many processors are available? 3 processors available. So 25 by 3. This is 3 8s are 24 and still 10. So that is 3 seconds. Means on an average, each and every process has to wait minimum of 8.33 seconds. Right? And next one is average execution time. So that's what it is, average execution time, AET. So at what time P1 is going to be executed? P1 at 10 seconds is going to be executed. What about P2? P2 will finish at 15 seconds. And what about P3? P3 will execute at 22 seconds. So what is my total? 10 plus 15 plus 22. That is 25 plus 22, 47 seconds. But here I need to calculate average execution time. Average means by 3. This will be 3 1s are 3, and again you have 17, 3 5s are 15. So again you have 20, so 15.66 seconds. This is your average execution time of each process. Means for P1 and P2 and P3, on an average 15.66 seconds will taken by the each and every process to complete its execution. Next one is average turnaround time. So how much time each process will take? For P1 it will take 10 seconds, right? So for P1 it will take 10 seconds. For P2 how much time it will take to execute? 15 minus 10, that is 5 seconds. So turnaround time is 5 seconds. For P3, 22 minus 15, that is 7 seconds. So P3 will take 7 seconds. So overall 10 plus 5 plus 7, that is 22 seconds. But here we need to calculate average turnaround time by how many processes are available? 1, 2, 3. So this is 3. This is 7.33 milliseconds. That is average turnaround time. We need to calculate average waiting time, average execution time, and average turnaround time. Here we have to calculated already average waiting time. So where you have calculated P1 has to wait up to 0, P2 has to wait up to 10 seconds, and P3 has to wait up to 15 seconds. So on an average we will get 8.33. The measure maybe varies from milliseconds and seconds. And next one is average execution time, AET, average execution time. Each and every individual process has to complete. P1 has to complete at
10 seconds, and P2 has to complete at 15 seconds, and P3 has to complete at 22 seconds. So P1 10, P2 15, and P3 is 22 seconds. So when you are submitting, overall 47, but you need to calculate average time. So you are using P1, P2 and P3, three number of processes that you are processing. So 47 by 3, each will continue, either it may be milliseconds or it may be seconds. That each and every individual process will take 15.66 seconds. And the last one is average turnaround time. So average turnaround time, P1 individually will take 10 seconds of time to finish its operation. Same as P2, 10, 15, 15 minus 10, 5. Same as P3, 22 minus 15, that is 7. So 10 plus 5 plus 7, 10 plus 5 plus 7. On an average it is 22. Again we are using the same three processes, so that is 22 by 3, it is on and around 7.33 milliseconds, or it may be a seconds, depends upon the measure. Okay? And here you have the advantages of FIFO scheduling, FCFS or FYFO, first in, first out schedulings. So first advantage is it will always operate on based on first serve, first come. So it don't want to wait for who is highest priority and how many total number of processors are available. It won't check and it won't wait until the process is completed. So as we already have three number of processors, P1, P2 and P3. For example, as we have already information, P1 will be the first resident of register. So initially first P1 came, so it has been filled with this block, and next P2 will came, obviously it will fill this block, and then P3 will come. It will be executed on this way only. So P1 will be the first executor, and P2 will be the next executor, and P3 will be the next last executor. It won't bother about of the priorities of all processes. It won't much bother about of how many processes are available and what is the individual process priority. It won't consider also. That is the first advantage of execution. Why it is an advantage means it won't wait. The time is going to be reducing the operation time. And second one is it can be operated in non-primitive and primitive scheduling algorithm. In both the manners it can be operatable. And next one is easy to understand, because who will that first applicant is going to be executed its own operation, and easy to implement also. No need to much follow the logics to implement when you are writing a program. And next one is implementation is based on FIFO queue. So FIFO is nothing but, as we already know the information of queue. What is queue? So here you have one register, 1, 2, 3 and 4 locations are available to serve the to save the message P1, P2, P3 and P4. So these are the 4 processes are available for me. So I'll just fill it with these 4 processes, as queue operation is first in first out. So who is the first in P1? Then obviously P1 is who will went to execute its own operation, that is FIFO queue. First in, first out. Who will come first? That particular process is going to be executed first. And next one is, what are the drawbacks? Why we need to go for some other scheduling algorithms? Why not for this one? Average waiting time is too high. How much is average waiting time? So first one, as we already know, already calculated also. The first one is my P1 and next one is P2, next one is P3. So this is 0 and 10, 15 and 22. So what is the waiting time? 0 plus 10 plus 15. So that is 10 plus 15 plus 0, that is 25. So whenever you need to calculate the average, 25 by how many processes? 3 processes. This is 3 8s are 24 and it will take 8.33 seconds for one process. Means each and every process will take 8 seconds for execution of time. That is more higher time while we are comparing with the rest of the algorithms. And next one is, it favors the monopoly of the process. Monopoly means it won't follow any specific restrictions, specific conditions. Only one way only it will operate. So for example, by mistake I have sent P1 and P3 and at last I have sent P2 by mistake. So if you want to change the operation, you need to change the entire operation from statement 1. You can't able to change at this particular instant of time. That is the drawback from this FIFO scheduling.